What's going on, everybody? I'm back, and today I'm just using my webcam on my laptop because I don't feel like importing or anything like that, so this is exactly what so just to make it easier, because I'm going to use Movie Maker and my webcam to make this video, because today is just going to be a chit-chat video. Anyway, today I received a little present, and looking at this present, I don't care what people give, as you get older, you may get it, you understand, you learn to understand that sometimes you may get a gift and sometimes you may not, and regardless of what your gift is, you should be thankful for what you get. And I don't look at it as just any other souvenir. I look at it as, and here it is right here. It's this little bitty turtle. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it says, "Be proud of who you are." And I kind of want to talk, I actually want to talk about it. I am proud of who I am, and I'm not ashamed of who I am either. Nor will I never will be ashamed of who I am. Because, this is me, and this is who I will be, and this is who I always will be. But my past, I kind of want to talk about it too. 2 years ago, or for the past 6-7 years, I've been in this company. I've been in this company for almost 9 years. And for at least 7 of those years, I lived at least 6-7 of those years. Okay, I moved to this group home in 2010, and I moved out in 2015. So it's been about 5-6. It's been like between 5 and. It was in February of 2010 when I moved into that group home, and November of 2015. And the reason why I remember it was November of 2015 because it was right after Halloween. To make this long story short, okay. Now there was times where I was happy there, and there was times where I wasn't. And things were just crazy there. And the whole 6 years that I lived there, okay, when I first moved there, I had the master bedroom, and the master bedroom was probably the size of a motel room. The bathroom was huge, it had his and her sinks, and it had a big old jacuzzi tub, and it had a huge walk-in closet. And my room was just huge. And I thought that was the coolest bedroom I've ever had in my life, but was it worth it? And this story will answer the question. In about 2010, things were going okay there, but in around 2000, late 2010, early 2011, it kind of started to spiral out of control. I've had a lot of people do crazy stuff and wouldn't admit it. And let's fast forward to 2012. Things were actually running a lot smoothly, so I didn't think so. I was actually happy there for a while. But in 2014, that's when things started to spiral out of control. I used to live with this one girl who used to bully me over my stuff, like I had an iPod Touch, and I had all these cool things because I had to spend money. And one night, she tricked me into letting her have my iPod, or borrow my iPod. She's like, let me see it, I'm going to try and fix it. And I waited about 2-3 hours because I wanted my iPod back, and I was too scared to say anything because I was scared she was going to bully me. She would boss me around, tell me how I need to do stuff, like I used to have to do my blood pressure every morning. And my blood pressure machine was acting up, and she goes, "You're not giving it time, Key." And I'm like, are you seriously? And I looked at her, and I'm like, are you seriously going to yell at me and talk to me like that? But instead of standing up for myself, she just wanted to make me mad. And I ended up going off on her. And her and I got into it, and I would let her walk all over me because I was scared she was going to get mad. And finally, I was showing her, I don't remember what I was doing, and she goes, "Ow, that hurts my ears." And I'm like, she gave me an attitude, and I was being nice to her, and she gave me an attitude, and I gave her I decided that it would be, I didn't think it was good, at the time it sounded like a good idea, but it really wasn't a good idea. And now she goes, "Oh, you want to fight?" And I said, "No, but if you're going to give me an attitude, I'm going to give you one right back." And I had to go to my room and cool off because I was about to lose it. And when she came to me, I told her, "I love you, but I'm really sick and tired of your attitude, and I'm tired of you yelling at me and being mean to me and giving me an attitude. I don't have to put up with it, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore." And she backed off, and she quit bullying me ever since. And since she bullied me over my stuff, I've lost my trust in her because I discovered what kind of friend she really is. And she had some problems in life, but, she had some of her own problems, and she would take it out on other people, and which was not okay. So after she moved out, things started to run a little bit more smoothly. And then we have another person that's probably just as bad. So let's fast forward to 2014. I used to live with this one girl, this one lady that would constantly complain about some things that you can fix. Like the stupidest things that she would complain about, She would be lazy and take advantage of me and this other girl. She would be lazy and take advantage of other people. And she always wanted to do what she wanted to do, and anytime I wanted to do something, I'd have to threaten or beg her to get her to do the things that I wanted to do. And that wasn't fair. So finally, I started toughening it up and telling her off, and then her and I would get into it a lot. And one day, my sister took me out for my birthday, and she goes, "I didn't get my way today, so I'm pissed." And anytime she was pissed off about something, were in a bad mood, she would put it everybody else would be in a bad mood. And I got really fed up with it. So a lot of times when she was there, I would just hibernate. I would hide in my room and I would listen to music. And my music was the only way to escape from all of that. And I would constantly hear her complain about something. You know, every time she would constantly run her mouth. And to make a long story short, I was really stressed out over it. And when I started to stress out, my body would do all of these weird things. Like there was times where I would vomit or shit out of nowhere. It would either be just like I would sit there, I would feel sick all of a sudden, and I'd throw up, and I'd be okay after that. And that's happened multiple times. Or sometimes I would just have diarrhea. I know it's a little TMI, but a lot of the weird things that my body would do, I would have like the pins and needles feeling in my face and in my hands. And my face would feel kind of numb. It would feel like I'm having a stroke, but I think I was having an anxiety attack. And I would turn to food, and I would eat it because it's there, and you know, it wasn't a really good, healthy way to cope with stress. And finally, I was over the edge. After that one night that her and I got into it, you know, she would say things like, I'm on my period, I get emotional. And, you know, when I'm on my period, I can understand that, because when I get on my period, I get emotional too. So, she would be so, I got tired of threatening her and begging her to do things I wanted to do. And after losing it from my anxiety, and I would be stressed out because of her. She was not a good roommate. And she would constantly argue with other people, and she would constantly argue in the staff. And I got tired of listening to constant bickering and argument, and it's like, I just wanted to so badly to step out my room and go, shut up! But really, I didn't, because I knew it wasn't going to solve anything. Anyway, we had some stuff go on in October, and I was under a lot of stress and anxiety. And I was so upset, I vented on Facebook that I was not happy. And, I couldn't remember what, and, I'd have to go back and read those posts. But one day, I took a long, hot shower, and I busted out crying. And I had to ask myself, Kira, are you happy here? Is it worth having this really cool room? Is it worth living here and putting up with all of this? Do you really want to live here that much longer? You're going to wind up killing yourself if you continue to stress the way that you are. That's why my blood pressure's always up. That's why I'm always getting sick. That's why I'm having all these weird health issues. And so I said I wanted to move out. I said either they do something or I'm going to move out. And then one of the most amazing things happened to me. An opportunity came for me to go to foster care. And it was a very emotional change. And I explained to my mom what was going on. And my mom told me, you're just making a change for the better. And it was a situation I either chose me or them. And I chose me. It's not worth living in this really cool room. I may live in a house that's not as cool as this. I may not have a room anywhere near as cool as this room, but at the same time, I'm going to be a lot happier. I'm better off. And let's rewind to before that. Like one day, my sister came and picked me up, and I vented to my sister, and my sister told me, if you're not happy, instead of complaining about it, do something. Make it happen, you know that you're not happy. It's not their decision. It's up to you. They cannot force you to do it. I would let them, and I realized that she was right. And a few weeks later, I had an opportunity to move out, and I thought about it, and I knew I figured it was going to be a month or so before I moved. But some things had happened, and I ended up moving out a lot sooner than I thought. So I took the plunge, and let me tell you, I have, oh my God, the minute I walked into my new home, it was just peace and quiet. It was like that Depeche Mode song, enjoy the silence. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this is peace and quiet. And I was just grinning from cheek to cheek, and I never had felt so relieved in my life until that day. Knowing that I would never have to worry about going back to those problems. See, when I lived at the group home, I tried to run away from those problems, and I would act happy on the inside, but on the outside, on the outside, I'd act happy, but on the inside, I was screaming bloody murder. I was crying for help. And I'm grateful that I realized that. And that was probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I will not change, I've been able to go places. I'm able to go on trips. Now, when I lived at the group home, I went on some vacations, and, ending those vacations, I dreaded because I did not want to go. I was not ready to go back home, but I knew I had to. I was like, I don't want to go back home and have to deal with all of that. And having to have somebody, don't get mad, but we did this. Don't get mad, but we did that. And I would just be like, well, I went and did this, or I went and saw the ocean. I went to see Marilyn Manson. I went to SeaWorld. Because I knew that when I got home, my problems would be there, but I wanted out of there permanently. And my mom told me, Kira, my mom finally confronted me and told me that I have not been this happy in a long time. And she didn't even remember last time seeing me that happy. And I got so sick and tired of not being happy. And since I moved to foster care, okay, right before I moved out, I weighed at 200 pounds. And now I'm at 150. I'm at 154, I believe. I was a size 15. Now I dropped down to a 12. And my blood pressure has improved. I'm no longer having those weird health issues. I've only gotten sick twice since I moved here. Last time I've gotten sick was probably December, but it was because, my health has improved a lot. And at the group home, I was getting sick every time I turned around, and it was because of stress. And looking back at all of that, it's made me a better person, and I would get mad over every little thing, or be like, ah! Like, the other day, I had a dental appointment. Nobody told me about it, and I normally used to flip out when nobody would tell me anything. And it's like, okay, nobody told. Sorry about that. Okay, nobody told me anything. But, and I understand why nobody has told me anything, because, people get so wrapped up in their work, and they just intend to put things on the back burner. Like, I realize that they're a lot more organized than I thought they were. They have schedules and everything for appointments and who's taking them, but I didn't know because I wasn't there. And they get so wrapped up that they just forget what's going on. And now I understand. Like, the other day, I watched an old Stanley Cup final game. It was when New Jersey took the cup from Dallas. And to tell you the truth, when I watched that game, when it first happened, my throat's getting dry. Hold on. When that first happened, I was crying my eyes out. And today, or the other day when I watched the game, I ended up laughing my ass off about it. Pardon my French. And looking back at all those things, I've grown up, and I'm very proud of myself for that. And, I'm proud of who I became. I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through any of that. As bad as things were before, look at all the positive things that came out of it. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And, I become a better person because of that. And I'm more mature. And I have people in my life to encourage me and push me because they care. They don't do it to be mean. They just do it all out of love. And if they didn't care, they wouldn't. If nobody cared, they wouldn't be pushing me and encouraging me to do. They wouldn't be pushing me and encouraging me. And I've learned to not be afraid and not worry. I no longer worry about things. I worry about like back then, I would worry about things that I did not even need to worry about. I would stress out over the stupidest little stuff. And now, I save the stress for something that's more serious. And, like the paper shredder at work didn't work the other day. Was I upset about it? No. I didn't like being on my phone the whole day while I was there, but I didn't have anything else to do, and I didn't really have any other choice. But it gave me an opportunity to figure out something that I've been trying to figure out for months. And the little things, and even the littlest things in life like that, happen for a reason. At the time, we just don't understand why it's happening. But then, you look back and then you realize, maybe that's why it happened. And, like, I used to stress out for not being ready for work, and I've learned, instead of stressing out, like, I was having problems with my phone, with my personal phone. It was doing weird stuff, and I, instead of getting upset, before I get upset, I've learned to take a deep breath and count to 10. And then, be like, it's gonna be okay. another weird thing and I've mellowed out a lot, and I've opened up a lot. I'm more blunt than I used to be. And if people don't like that, oh well, that's just who I am, and I'm not gonna, I wouldn't change anything for the world, and I wouldn't change anything about my past. You know, there are some things you cannot change your past. And even if I could, I still wouldn't. Because, you know, something good came out of it. It's made me a part of who I am today, and I'm very proud of myself. Like the other day, like one time, I got all huffy with my mom. I don't even remember what for. And I called back, and I usually just hang up on her, and I call back and I apologize, and that's something I've never done before. And about the game in October, I decided that whoever wins, wins. They may make, you know, the Ducks may win, or they may lose, and I need to understand that they're not going to win every game, that there's going to be games where they're going to get their asses kicked. And there's going to be games where they're going to kick their asses. They're going to have good games and bad games. And you know what? Those mistakes that they make, they can look back at them and, you know, learn. We all make mistakes, but we can look back and learn from it. And I don't, you know, it shouldn't matter who wins or loses. This is another thing that I've learned moving to foster care. I've learned to focus on things what's more important. You know, and be great, you know, focus on what's more important in life, other than the littlest things. Like, instead of focusing on the Ducks are going to win, you know, all we can do is hope that they win and hope that they make the playoffs. They may make the playoffs, they may not. Like, when Washington won the Cup, I felt happy for Washington, but at the same time, I was really hoping Vegas would win. It's like, you know, they didn't win, but shoot, they made it that far. And about that game that I watched, the Dallas Stars have not made it to they've had a playoff drought for the past 3 years. And at that time, they were just fortunate enough to make the playoffs. And I should have been more fortunate enough that they made it. Grateful that they made it that far. That's really all that mattered. That's stuff in life, that's really all that matters. And you should be proud no matter what. Like last season, when the Ducks made it to conference finals, they didn't make it all the way to the final, and I wasn't, you know, I was a little bit bummed, but I wasn't upset. And instead, I was looking at the things that happened. We made it that far. We beat a Game 7, you know. What matters is that they made it that far. And I've learned to focus on things that matter. And, you know, I have to even if I feel like I'm going to get upset over something that I don't need to get upset, I have to remind myself, Kara, there's no sense in getting upset. Get upset when it's something more important. And it takes a lot more for me to get mad than what it used to. I don't get mad near as much. It takes a lot more. And I'm so grateful for that. And I laugh at things that I used to get mad at back then. Because they were so stupid. You know? Yes, I envied my dad for going to Disneyland, but I shouldn't be butthurt about it. You know, I may have an opportunity one day where I'll get to go to Disneyland, but you never know when that's going to happen. Like I envied my friend. Instead of envying her, I should have been happy for her. And, you know, looking back, I probably was. And she told me that she's going to Ducks training camp. And I told her that you should go and meet Gibby. Like, hold on, let me show you something. If I could find it. It's in here somewhere. I had to put it up because it's kind of an important... it's not it. That's not it. Hold on. Set this up here for right now. Aha, there it is. I think this is it. I think I've showed this on video before, but I'm going to go ahead and show it now just because. Might as well because I'm talking about it. I didn't get to meet John Gibson, but this is what I got. And the reason why I put it away because I want to laminate it. I'm going to try laminating it and putting it in a frame or something. I didn't get to meet John Gibson, and I feel extremely jealous for those who have. But at the same time, I got his autograph, and a lot of those people, like if you're one of those idiots that commented, okay, it really is his signature, and he was probably in a hurry that day when he wrote that, so that's probably why it came out like that. Just like when I have to sign for a package at work, my signature didn't turn out like it normally does, but at least they got some markings. And what matters is that my friend went out of her way to do that for me, and I totally was not expecting it. Like, she sent me those John Gibson posters from games that she's gone to. And she did not have to do it, but she did. I mean, I didn't even get to go to the game, and now I want to, but I know that I could afford it, but at the same time, I hope that she can go to a game this year, and I would like for her to go, and I will say, go if you have an opportunity. But anyway, I don't get upset, I've learned, the point is, moving to foster care was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't learn, I've learned a lot of new things. I've done some things that I didn't even get to do when I was living there at the group home. I've gone more places. I get treated like an adult. I get spoken to like I'm an adult. I don't get mad over these stupidest little things. And I've learned to be grateful for what you do have and grateful for what you got, I may not be able to know how to drive, but that's not a big deal. I have ways to get around just like everybody else. And I used to want to learn how to drive, but you know what? It's best that I don't. And, to be honest with you, I'm actually very glad that I don't. And there's nothing wrong with not having a license and not being able to drive. There are a lot of people that don't drive. And it's more earth-friendly to not drive. And I have people that are willing to get me places where I want to go or where I need to go. I've gained independence. However, I still rely on people, but you know what? That's okay. Everybody relies on somebody for some. And living at the group home, I relied on people for everything. I mean, I could live alone without being alone. And, like, for example, if I want to go get my nails done, I go and get my nails done. And it's not an issue. That's never been an issue. And if I want to go shopping, I go shopping. If I want to go to a hockey game, I go to a hockey game. I've done a lot more. I no longer have to threaten or beg anybody to do anything I want to do. I just do it a lot of times, or I figure out what I want to do and I do it, and I go from there. And there are days where I just don't feel like getting out the house, and there's days where I do. Like today, it was kind of hot outside, so I didn't get out of the house, which that's okay. And you know, the moral to the story is, you know, we wouldn't be who we are if we didn't go, if it wasn't for our past. The little things we go through in life is what makes us who we are today. It's made me a stronger person, and I definitely, sorry about that, like, you're gonna have to excuse all this. It keeps going off. I don't even know why. But the camera is still rolling, and it's weird. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. But I know it's just a webcam video, and I know it's not the best, but, you know, I've learned to, you know, another thing I've also learned in life, we may not like what we go through, even the little things, like even the webcam is not quality, but I'm making the best of it. And I've learned to not complain about things. But I've grown up, and I'm grateful for that. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. So I will check in with y'all later. Peace out, everybody. And have a blessed day.